We're back in the studio for another fun recipe. Hi, I'm Carrie with eatingonadime.com, and we're making cabbage roll soup. It's all the flavors of cabbage rolls without any of the work because we're doing it in a soup. Now, before we get started, you're going to find the full recipe linked in the description. And this is a one-pot dinner. And you guys know I love anything that requires only one dish to clean at the end. Now, you can find the full recipe linked in the description, as well as everything that we're using today that is in the studio. Aren't you loving the studio? Because we are. Okay, friends, it's time to get started. Now, before we head to the stove, the first thing we're going to do is get all our veggies chopped and ready to go. I've got one onion. We need a half an onion. Ooh, it's a fresh knife, and I can tell it feels so good. We have a half of an onion that we're going to chop up. I like to save as much time as possible, so I'm going to use my chopper. Ooh, sexy knife. Sorry, it's just hasn't been used much, so it's great. We are using our food chopper for this. You don't have to. I'm just doing it because it makes my life easier. Remember, everything we use, we include a link for, and we're all about saving time, money, and sanity here on Eating on a Dime. So you're going to notice a steady trend on our channel is all about how can you cook delicious foods without saving a ton. I mean, not without saving, without spending a ton of time. And little things like this, helps a lot. You just put the little pointy side down, chop it up, and you have these beautiful onions. Up next, carrots. You're going to shred carrots. If you want to be super lazy, buy some shredded carrots. You can also throw these in like a mini food processor or a food processor, but I am just going to use a cheese grater and grate them into little pieces. You do you, no judgment here. So literally, you just rub it up and down, and it gives you these beautiful little shavings that are super easy. They cook really quickly, and they're perfect for soups. Okay, we are done. 2 carrots shredded. This is the hardest part of the recipe, and it's really not hard. But again, use your food processor and just blend it up into little tiny pieces, and that will work as well. I'm just putting this in the bowl, and then I'm going to put the cabbage in there too. So next, we're going to cut up a cabbage. For your cabbage, you're going to cut it in half. And now when I say cut it in half, you're cutting it through the core like I put that stem on the bottom. Then I'm just going to take my knife and cut out the core in like a triangle. Well, maybe not so much a triangle today because I'm struggling today. That's okay. Once that's done, then we just take our knife and we cut it on alongside. I'm going to take this. That one doesn't look so great. And then we're going to literally shred it by cutting in little tiny slivers. So you're just going to really thinly slice it. That's why you need a beautifully sharpened knife. I can't talk. And you're going to get these beautiful little shredded pieces. Now, once that, we need roughly 6 cups of shredded cabbage. So I'm using my Pyrex dish. It's a 4-cupper to measure it out. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. So there's about 4 cups. And I'm going to do about 2 more cups. So it's going to be almost a half for the one that I'm using. But you never know because your cabbage could be smaller or bigger. So that's why we give you a cup measured instead of just saying, like my carrots, I'm going to have a little extra carrots than we normally do because our carrots happen to be bigger. Okay, that looks good. In a large stock pot, heat 2 teaspoons of olive oil. Then add in that chopped onion that we chopped up earlier. And 1 pound of lean ground beef. Then use a large wooden spoon to break up the beef. And we're going to let the beef brown and those onions get soft. Continue cooking the beef and the onions for about 4 to 6 minutes over medium-high heat or high heat until the onions are translucent and the beef is brown and there's no more pink. Then add in a tablespoon of minced garlic or 3 cloves of garlic minced We're going to cook this for 1 minute until you can smell the garlic. Add in 4 cups of beef broth, which is the same as 1 carton, but you can always measure it out or use like a bouillon to make your own beef broth. I highly recommend using broth for extra flavor. Then add in 2 cups of water. Add in that shredded cabbage and those carrots. Add in a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 2 cans of 8 ounces of tomato sauce, 1 bay leaf, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a half a teaspoon of dried oregano, and 1 teaspoon of salt and pepper. Then stir everything to combine. Bring it to boil and then add the lid, and we're going to turn the heat down to medium-low and let it simmer for 20 to 25 minutes. She's done. Look at all this beauty. If you like it a little, ours kind of sat for a little bit and got a little bit thicker, but I like it like this. If you want it a little bit soupier, you can just keep an eye on it, and you can always add more liquid if you need to, but look how beautiful it is. Oh, and it smells amazing. Now, one more tip that I completely forgot about. When I shred my cabbage, I usually like to then turn it and chop it into halves or thirds or littler pieces because it's a soup and it'll be easier to eat. Now, the cabbage does break down a lot when you're cooking it, but if you don't want any of those longer pieces, go ahead and do that. So sorry about that. Hashtag struggle bus, but isn't she lovely? Ooh, she smells so good. Now it's time for eating it, friends. I've already snagged a couple bites. It's very delicious and super hot. So, okay, I want to remind you, friends, before we go. Now, you can swap out the beef. We did a ground beef today, but you could do a ground chicken. You could do a sausage. You could do a ground pork, whatever your heart's desire. And that's what's so great about this recipe is that it's so versatile. Now, before we go, I want to remind you to like and subscribe because we have a ton of new recipes coming out that we want to share with you. And I don't want you to miss any of the videos. We're on a mission to help families eat well on a budget. And we want to show you that you can do exactly what we're doing. That even though you see pretty pictures on the internet, our recipes are so easy to make. Let's snag a little quick bite. Oh my goodness, it's so good. The thing I love about this soup too is it tastes even better the next day. So make sure you save the leftovers for lunch or for another dinner. So good. Okay, friends, I'm out of here. Thanks so much for joining me. I cannot wait to see and to hear from you about making this recipe. When you do, make sure you go to our site and leave a review. I spend hours reading and responding to reviews, and so we want to hear from you. Okay, we're out of here. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. I will see you next time in our new studio for another family-friendly recipe that will help you save money and time. Bye, friends. Oh, wait, I forgot. Before we go, don't forget to eat at home by eating on a dime. I'll see you next time.